Hey, I'm Orla from your Women's Gear Review channel. Today we are comparing the Able Carry Daily versus the Able Carry Daily Plus backpacks. Both have individual reviews over on our channel that you can go ahead and check out. They are a bit more in depth, whereas today, you guessed it, we are comparing the two. So without faffing too much and talking too much as I do, we are gonna get cracking on. Able Carry are a backpack brand. Their aim is to enhance daily carry through organization, comfort, durability, and mainly to access your belongings with ease. So a great thing that Able Carry offer over on their website is a wee fit check. So if you go down to the bottom of the page where you can see images of ladies and gentlemen of different heights wearing these bags. So a great thing about Able Carry is that they do offer a 14-day trial, so you can suss it out if it works for you or not. You do although have to pay for the return if you are not satisfied. They offer worldwide shipping. In terms of warranty, they do offer a lifetime that covers workmanship defects. They also say to reach out to them if you do have any problems. Something that I greatly appreciate is their website. It is clearly set up. If you pop down to the bottom of their page and click through their titles, you will find more information on fit and how to use the bag. It is definitely highly appreciated when a brand goes to that level of detail, because some brands are actually useless when it comes to their websites. They'll literally just give you the bag, 2 photos, and be like, enjoy. Okay, let's get cracking on. First up is the price. So the daily here is priced at $139 US, whereas the plus here is priced at $209 US. So for the materials, there is a bit of a slight difference. For the daily here, you do have Cordura. The face fabric is Cordura 1000D nylon, and the interior fabric is Ripstop 420D nylon. So then for the plus, you do have the X-Pack VX21. Now with the VX21, this is a lightweight layered material with superior tear strength, featuring the signature X grid, a polyester backing for waterproof and structure, and with the nylon surface. The olive green in the plus one is made from X42 material. If you want to know more about the materials, as mentioned, they go into great detail over on their website. The dimensions for the daily is 48 by 28 by 19 centimeters, so that is 18.8 by 11 by 7.5 inches. And for the plus here, you have 49 by 29 by 19.1 in centimeters, which is 19.3 inches by 11.4 inches by 7.5. Then for the weights here, for the daily, you're looking at 2.1 pounds, so roughly 1 kg. And then for the plus is 2.6 pounds, so roughly 1.2 kg. Then moving on to the liters, for the daily here, you have the 20 liter, and then for the plus, it is a 21 liter. For the daily, you can get it in the olive, tan, navy, and black, and then for the plus you can get it in the black, brown, olive, and navy. So for the shape and style, I know this probably isn't the most aesthetically pleasing looking setup here, but they both set up nicely. They both have that A-framed shape. When they are completely packed out, you kind of have to wiggle it about if you want to kind of set it up. It really just depends. As mentioned, the full in-depth reviews on both are over on the channel if you want to go into more of that kind of detailing. The Cordura here on the daily feels a lot more tougher and appears that way, and then the plus has that kind of like water resistant, clean, easy clean kind of material look to it. So you can kind of tell when you like have them in person. I don't know if that kind of picks up that vibe on camera, but this, it feels like tough. This feels like, I don't know what I'm trying to do, but this is more water resistant, even though they're both kind of water resistant here, which we'll get into, but this just looks more water resistant than this one does. A thing to note with the daily, fluff and dust does stick to it from time to time, whereas the plus does not. Over on the website, they do give a care guide onto cleaning these backpacks. The daily plus definitely has more flexibility to it, whereas the daily looks a bit more padded. However, they both have the sufficient padding. Do not be fooled by that, because they are well structured. So the daily gives more of a professional work kind of everyday carry that can be smart but also can be casual and urban, whereas the daily plus does give an everyday carry, but it feels like a more of an active style kind of backpack. Like I wouldn't be mad taking this to the gym or a CrossFit gym where there is a lot of chalk, because that's just going to be really easy to clean. Notably, as mentioned, you kind of have that grid kind of crisscross here on the Daily Plus, whereas this is just a solid color. Okay, time to get cracking on with the features and compare. So they both have their signature able carry webbing system throughout the front of the bag. Their logos are both positioned in the same place with the hyperlong finish. The lip holes allow you to extend to this bag should you wish, and they also have similar handles at the top for top grabbing with slight padding. Noted on the Daily Plus, you have 8 extra lip holes implemented on the back of the bag, whereas the Daily does not. Both have similar bottoms and structures. Both have YKK zippers. The Daily has hyperlong custom pullers, whereas the Plus is a seatbelt kind of material pullers. Moving on to the back here, they both have top pockets. The Daily has it more exposed with the hooded zip, whereas the Daily Plus has a flap cover over it. The Daily has coated zips, whereas the Daily Plus does not. The flap, however, helps with the water resistance. Both pockets run down to a similar size, however the Daily has a darker interior and the Plus has a brighter interior. The preference for me is definitely the kind of coated zip here on the Daily. So both of the straps have the similar kind of thickness to it, and they both have the kind of hyper-long lip hole here. If you wanted, you could add onto this. However, I will delve more into comfortability during our fit check, but let me give you a rundown on the feel of the Daily. It is tough, rigid with sufficient padding. The mesh has a crunchy sound to it and nice airflow. The Plus is rigid but more flexibility, less crunchy sound to it. I would say the Daily has more toughness to it. So both sternum straps are hidden by this fabric here, and they both have that magnetic close. Now for the Daily Plus, you have to unclip it to adjust this, whereas the Daily, it is movable up and down for adjustment, which I definitely do prefer a bit more is this one, because I find then with the kind of material and the awkwardness of looking down, it's a bit more tough to kind of unclip this, whereas this you can just adjust it how you need. They both have adjustable straps, some hardware with dangle stoppers. Both have thumb holes, however the Daily thumb holes are a joke because my thumb literally cannot fit through that. So for the back systems, the layouts are pretty much similar, but you'll kind of see that with the Daily Plus here, it runs a little bit more narrower than the Daily here. Still both the same kind of sufficient padding here, just slightly thinner on this one in comparison to the Daily. As mentioned, the similar kind of layout, this kind of has like a little jolt like that, whereas this is curved around. These are kind of similar, just ever so slightly, just a little bit of difference. This comes a little bit longer, as you can see, but again, still the same kind of sufficient padding, just a little bit of a color difference as well, but still same nice airflow. Moving on to the front pockets here, similar in their kind of design with the kind of flap fabric here. Both have bright interior, but the Plus is slightly brighter. Inside the Daily backpack, it is just space with a key lash in there. The Daily key lash is thicker seatbelt material with a rotational clip close, whereas the Plus has an organization. Bit of organization. The key lash is a gatekeeper system and the thinner kind of seatbelt material. This is movable. You can undo it and take it out if you wish, whereas the Daily Plus one is sewn in. One thing that the Daily Plus has that the Daily hasn't is the compartment here for your water bottle. So this is a 500ml that fits in nicely in there. You could go slightly bigger if you wanted to. So moving on to the main body of the kind of compartment here. You have, for the Daily Plus, a coated zip here on the top, which I wish they kind of implemented throughout the bag rather than just leaving these not coated, where in comparison to the Daily here, they've implemented that throughout, that coating throughout all of the zips, which I really appreciate. So let's get into the bodies of their bag. So here we go. Inside, for the Daily, you have a little bit of branding here on the top, and then you have the hardware system. I believe you can take that out as well. So if you just go through there, you can get into that backboard. If you wanted to take that out to make this bag a bit more flexible and less of a rigid back, then you could do that. On the kind of Daily Plus here, you have a little bit of a flap, a little bit of branding here, a little bit of a tag. And then in the back here, if you can get to it, is where your hardware system is. So this is more of a Velcro finish. This has its own little zipped puller compartment with a little flap, so you can kind of take out that back system if you wanted to. Same for both. That just means if you are using this or wanting to kind of shove it in as a personal item, then you can kind of take those out as well. Then they both have laptop compartments. For the daily, this is the kind of system that you're getting. There is sufficient padding to it, which is nice to note. On both sides, you kind of have like two little pen holders if you wanted to place anything in there as well. It is that easy clean material that we love to see. And then in comparison to the Daily Plus here, there is a bit of a stretch here. A different kind of system to it, still sufficient padding. Similar kind of material for that easy clean. Just to give you a bit of reference for the sizes of the pockets, you could get, I'd say about a 15-inch, but you could get a 16-inch if you wanted to. It runs to about there, but then I guess if you're trying to curve it around this, I would be careful. Maybe a 15-inch would be snug enough. And then across, yeah, about 11. You could definitely get a 16. You could try for a 17-inch on this. It's just that you'd have to be aware of trying to curve it around. And then this kind of pocket running across, I'd say 11.5, because you have a little bit more of a space here, whereas this is closed off completely. This is my, what are you, 12-inch by 9. That fits nicely in there. Same for this one. Then this is a 14-inch, but then my partner was saying it's actually a 15-inch, but it says 14-inch, but then he said something about the face. I don't know, I'm not really equipped with MacBook Pros, but this is the measurement across, and then this is the measurement grand for the Daily, and then grand for the Daily Plus. So for the Daily, they've opted for a mesh pocket. It's a lot rougher mesh, whereas this is a bit of a stretchy kind of soft lined pockets. They've got 1, 2 here for kind of smaller accessories. It's not big enough to fit that laptop that I had there in it. Just to give you a bit of rundown of the, about 8 inches across, about 9.5 up, just for that wee pocket. Similar for the one in front as well. And then they have some brand in here. That is a bit more stretchy kind of mesh. As you can see, this is the whole range of the pocket there. That's a bit softer, whereas this is definitely a bit more rougher in that pocket. There you go. Then they just both have space here at the bottom. It is that A-shaped frame, so that'll just flatten out like so. Then where you have the pocket here on the outside for the Daily Plus, you don't have a pocket on the inside, whereas for the Daily you do have that. So you could even try and fit your water bottle in there. This 500ml does not fit in there. I would go for something for more like an umbrella, or just chuck your water bottle in on the inside. This is not like a flexible kind of pocket here, so you can't like stretch it out or anything. It is what it is. Then they both have this top pocket. This on the Daily Plus has a little bit of a custom pillar here, so it's just a bit easier to maneuver, a bit more of a brighter interior. As you can see, this is kind of like the pocket size, runs till about there. Then on the Daily, there is no custom pillar to it, but still grand. And inside it is just a wee pocket as well. There is no like organization in there. That's just easy for your kind of top grabbing pocket on both. Okay, time for a fit check, comfortability, and how these both feel on the female body. So for the Daily, I still stand by my full review in terms of the straps being very rigid. It is very tight. It takes a while for it to even warm up, and especially when it just hits your neck, it can become extremely uncomfortable over long periods of time, especially when you are packing up the bag as well. What I do appreciate though is that the sternum strap is adjustable up and down rather than unclipping it. Could have done with a bit more material here. It's grand for me for my size, but I can imagine for other people you would still need a bit more. I don't really like implementing that because then this just brings us in even closer. I'm just definitely not a fan of these straps. I don't find it comfortable. The back system though is great, it's lovely. This is what it looks like on me. For reference, I am 5'6". Yeah, let's move on to the plus. Much better. These straps are something I can get on board with. They are still a bit thick. Like the straps are thick, but this offers a lot more comfortability to it. It is much less rigid than those ones on the daily. The only thing is I do not like having to detach the sternum strap to place it back in. It's just a bit annoying. I prefer them to move up and down. This is grand though. Sorry, that strap is up there. You can pull it in with your thumb holders. In terms of comfort, these are 10 times better. Still very high up here on the aisle neck, but in comparison to the daily, definitely much better and ones that I prefer. I love the back system on both. Really just the kind of back support that you need. Yeah, definitely prefer these ones. Definitely. Okay, for a wee airline test, you kind of want to know, does it fit as a personal item? Does it not? These are the kind of requirements here for EasyJet. So that just gives you a bit of a rough idea. Always check with your own airlines whether or not it's going to fit. The thing with this is the back system. But since reviewing the two backpacks, there was a comment made, which I greatly appreciate, is that you can kind of take out the kind of back system, the kind of hardness in the back. You can take that out, so maybe that would offer a bit more flexibility for you to kind of shove it in. Each to their own. I kind of like the whole straightness of the back, so that just gives me a lot more support, and each to their own. Yeah, let's see what it's like with this here. This is the daily. Again, it's the back system. You're asking, could you shove it in? You could try. You could try, but if you have this front pocket packed out, again, that's a bit too bulky. Then you can imagine them for the same for the plus. It's gonna be the same, especially when it is completely packed out, which you can get a bit better reference for over on their full reviews as well. Let me see if I can take out this back padding. Actually no, because knowing my luck, I'll never get it back in. I reckon with the flexibility, you could still get it in, or with the back out, you could still get it in, but the front pockets and all, you know, you wouldn't be wanting to pack those out to the max because you might not be able to shove it in as much. This has a bit more flexibility to it, whereas this is a bit more rigid. Okay, time for some pros and cons for both. Pro for the daily here is that they have implemented the coating throughout all of the zips. Pro for the daily plus is that this is much easier to clean. Con for the daily here is that the thumb holes could have done with a bit more fabric because my thumb does not fit into that. Whereas a pro for this is that my thumb does fit into this one. I think it's really going to be down to personal preference. For me, I really do prefer this material over this kind of style. Although I prefer this over this, if that makes sense. Like if I could have the kind of coating here onto this throughout, like even this front pocket, then that would make it perfect. But in terms of comfort, this is definitely more comfortable than this is. However, over time, I feel like this is a bit more aesthetically pleasing looking, especially for professional life or day-to-day life, whereas this I would use more for activities and kind of being rough and ready with it, whereas this is a bit more cleaner and has a sleeker look to it. Both great bags. They both offer fun, great features. It is such a lovely wee brand as well. Be sure to reach out to the brand if you do have any issues as well. They're so lovely. If you did like this review, then why not consider joining the GBO community and hitting that subscribe button. We would be forever grateful if you could do that. We would also be forever grateful if you are thinking about purchasing any of these bags or any of their other bags to use the links below. That would help us so much in supporting our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.